Hey YouTube, I thought this would be a good opportunity to start the diary off on my Paroon shark. One of them was attacked last night in my larger tank. I've moved them over to this tank, which has better lighting and slightly smaller, so we'll be able to get a better look at them. Start off with the Paroon shark. You want one, you need to know what you're getting into. These fish get big, up to 5 feet in the wild. I've never seen anything that size in an aquarium or a tropical pond, but you know, you need to have an end game for these fish that involves a stupendously large tank or a tropical pond. Filtration for these fish, it needs to be heavy, as with any large fish, being they will grow very quickly, about 1 inch a month, up to about 14 inches, and then slow down a little bit after that. But very quickly they're going to be eating a lot of food and producing a lot of waste. All of my tanks are a bare minimum of 10 times the volume of water is filtered every hour. So this one's a 200 litre tank, it's 2,000 litre. I would double that again when these fish hit around 2 foot in a larger tank, because the sheer amount of waste, I mean, there's going to be some pretty big poos sitting on the bottom of your tank waiting for you every morning. So tank size is very important. Tropical pond, almost essential to get the most out of your fish as an end game. Filtration, equally important. Diet wise for these fish, they'll eat anything. They're catfish, but a varied diet is important. You know, the person that I got these fish off was feeding them exclusively on pellet, and I'm having trouble getting them off of that. But a good frozen food diet and a good pellet is essential. You want to mix up the food, and you want to make sure that they're getting a varied diet. Active. These fish are highly active as juveniles or babies, which these are. They will swim around your tank non-stop. They're not like other catfish species. They need to swim. They're not going to sit on the bottom of your tank happily like a red tail or a tiger shovel nose. They need to swim, so you need to make sure that you've got adequate room for that, you know, and at the size they get to and how quick they get to it, you need to be ready for that. So a good current is also essential at a young age, and I think as adults as well. You know, a good wave maker or power head, creating a nice current in your tank, because being active fish and needing to swim, it's good to have something to swim against. You know, they appreciate that. I mean, in this tank they haven't got that. In my other tank they did, and most of the day they will just sit in one place swimming away against the current, and they're quite happy to do that. And it's important. Now, you see a lot of these species and related species to these are just overweight blobs in a tank, and that's not fair on the fish, and you know, you're not getting the best out of your fish by doing that. You know, you want them working the way they would do it, as natural as possible. I've mentioned they grow very quickly to about 12 to 14 inches, then they slow down. They will then decrease in activity as well. They won't be as active in the tank. Once you get to about 12 to 14 inches and you've got a healthy Paroon shark in your tank or your pond, you know you've made it. They are very, very sensitive as youngsters. Some of the most fragile fish I think I've ever kept. I've lost a few over the years, and I've kept a few and lost more than what I would like, but they're very fragile. They've got very sensitive skin, very sensitive eyes, great big eyes on the sides of the head, which, you know, is in the name, makes them look like a shark. The head and the mouth, the eyes. But when I turn my tank light on, these fish will shoot across the tank. And every single one I've had of these has been the same. They're not confident as juveniles, as most fish aren't, but they are particularly sensitive, I think. But if he swims across the tank at high speed, they're quite powerful little swimmers, and hits a bit of bogwood or hits a slate, you can cause a lot of damage, because as I said, the skin is very sensitive, and the eyes, you know, you can end up losing an eye, which you don't want. You don't want a fish in your tank losing an eye. This is not something that you want. So essentially this tank's not ideal. They're in here temporarily until tomorrow when they're going to another tank. It's just not set up yet because of that one getting attacked. But you don't want any decoration, and people might say that's boring and that. Then from what I've seen, they're not hiders. They're not going to try and hide anywhere. They openly swim around because they need to swim, and they're active, like I've said. So yeah, if people say you shouldn't keep them, if you can meet the requirements, if you prepared to put in the time and effort with these fish. Now you're going to be doing some large water changes quite often when these get big, as you would with any other large species. If you're prepared to do that and prepared to meet the needs of the fish, then I don't see a problem with it. You know, you just have to know what you're getting into. This isn't the same as keeping a goldfish. This is sort of top end stuff because of the kit you're going to need, and the amount of money you're going to be spending on food, and the size tanks and everything else that goes with it, you know, and the work. You're going to spend a lot of time in the tanks with these fish because of the waste they produce and everything else. So it's a very rewarding fish to keep. They will swim the top, bottom and middle of the tank. They normally cruise the bottom, but they'll be all over the place. Not like if you keep a stingray or an arowana where one's top, one's bottom. These will use the whole tank to their advantage and enjoy doing so. You've just got to baby them through the first 8 months, 6 to 8 months. They're the most sensitive. After that, being a catfish, once it's established, you can put it in a muddy puddle and it would survive. Obviously don't do that, but it's they're very hardy fish once they get to that sort of size. So yeah, so this is like part 1 of the diary. After this I'm going to be doing, depending on the growth rates, I'm going to be doing on my dovey and my flowerhorn, all the other fish I've got, I'm going to be doing these diaries from baby to adult. Depending on the growth rate and any changes in behaviour, between 1 video a week to 1 video a month on each species. There's no point in me just uploading something that's grown 2 millimeters. So yeah, if you've got any comments or questions or anything about these fish, please use the comments below. Check out my channel for the other videos. I'll be starting the cichlid diaries soon. The dovey, I can't wait to get stuck into them with the diaries. That's an amazing little fish and a true monster in its own right. Yeah, thanks for watching and check out my other videos. Thank you.